I've discovered that there are two things that will keep you from what you most desire in life. And it doesn't matter how or what you package those desires in, whether it's a more fulfilling relationship, a different job, if you're looking for more time or money, or something material or something more experiential. Anything that you really desire, at the base of it is the belief that it will allow you to feel better, that you'll feel more fulfilled, more satisfied, more joy, more happy than how you currently feel. So at the base of that, we're all reaching for that, and we all look to it in different ways. But no matter what you're looking for and desiring, there's two essential components that must be there in order for you to achieve it. And if it's not, what you'll experience is that kind of like life looks good on paper and yet I'm missing something, or it's not quite right. Or you'll just be in some ways eclipsing the amount of fulfillment and joy that you can have. And friends, you don't have to do that. So I want to talk about the first blocker. And that first blocker is your ability to receive. I know it sounds crazy, like who wouldn't receive what they want? Like obviously if something came to us, we would say yes. It's really not that simple though. Being blocked from receiving is really resting on the belief that you have to be in resistance to life, or that there are parts of life that you want to push away or deny or reject because it's not working for you or it's not for you. Being able to receive allows us to operate on a different end of the spectrum. Many of us, because collectively we're taught this, operate on the spectrum of only action. So we believe that our action is what brings us to what we want. And in some ways true, yes, action does yield results. That's not false. But only action, and especially action that is rooted in fear or a lack or a feeling of separateness or a feeling that it's all on your shoulders, that won't lead you to what you desire, because like energy follows like energy, and anything based on a retractive energy or a fear-based energy or a feeling that you're not worthy or enough will never get you to the vibration of fulfillment and joy, because they're not made of the same essence. You can't get an orange from an apple seed. And so at the base of that is this resistance to life, or a feeling that you have to do so much. But there's another end of the spectrum, and that's the spectrum of receiving. And that receiving is directly related to the second blocker. And that second blocker is knowing your value and worth. Because when we truly know and believe in our essence, so this is not a mental concept of, sure, I believe I'm valuable. This is a feeling place, a deeply embodied presence that you bring when you know your value and worth. Because every single person on this planet is worthy and valuable. Although we have defined experiences, we hold limiting beliefs and energies that cause us to think that we're not valuable and worthy, which then drives our behavior to act out of fear, to act out of a feeling that life's against us, or that we have to prove ourselves or adapt ourselves or dilute parts of ourselves to get what we want. But again, like energy follows like energy, so it's an unsatisfying ending. When we operate only from the zone of our actions, what we tend to find out is that we have limitation through our resources of our time, our energy, and even material resources like money. Because when we realize if we are working against life, or we feel that we're holding life on our shoulders, what tends to happen is that we run out of time to do everything that we want to do, because we're managing it all. We're trying to control. And what that generally feels like is we oftentimes experience burnout, or we just feel like we don't have enough time to get what we want, or we don't have the money we need to do what we want, or whatever resources feels limited. But the basis of what you're feeling is a limitation, or a feeling that like you can't have it because there's all these blocks and obstacles to get there. And those are just symptoms of operating on only the action zone. And being in the only action zone also generally indicates that you're mainly using your mind to navigate. And the mind is very limited with what it knows. It only knows the past, your experiences, and how it's chosen to record those experiences with your own personal bias, and what you fed the mind. And so truly, you can't see sometimes creative workarounds and solutions. You can't be led by intuition, and you can't have the access to the synchronicities that are available when you operate in that more receiving mode, which allows you to receive in the support that's around you, that allows you to receive in how life's really rearranging sometimes. I can't tell you how many examples I have of life, and when I thought I was hitting a dead end, or I thought that something wasn't working out. And as I learned more and more to lean back and trust, I saw the magic of it. I saw how something that supposedly wasn't working out truly worked out in my favor. And I began to trust more and see that as I asked for help and I trusted that whatever was coming because it was I was calling it in and it was for my good. I started to see how there was easier ways to do things. There was a more synchronistic flow in my life. And this has happened, I can't tell you how many times, and it was probably always happening. I just wasn't recognizing it, because that's what happens when we're only in the action zone, is we get a very convergent focus, a very narrow focus of only seeing what we think we need to control and do, and we forget to see how magical life is. And I don't mean that in the sense of rainbows and butterflies, but how completely amazing and sometimes awestruck I am at how things work out, how there's so much of an easier path that doesn't require so much of my time or effort or energy and mental work to be done. And that's, again, so those are symptoms of operating too much on that one side. And when we move to the other side and we start to open our capacity to receive, we're able to have more unlimited time and resources, because we're now collectively allowing other people and other ways of being supported that supersede the limitations of our time-based reality. So whereas you may not have the money in your bank account, but you might synergize with someone who has more money in their bank account, or there might be a more creative way to bring more energy flow in the form of money to you. It's truly unlimited. That's not to say that we can't build a pretty successful life operating in the spectrum of only action, not receiving, and not truly believing and valuing ourselves. I've lived it. You can have a lot of material goodness. You can have some pretty satisfying experiences, but truly the proof is on the experiential level of, do you truly at the end of the day really feel like this is the life you want to lead? Or if something seems amiss or not quite right, you found yourself at this new beginning of a place in which life is inviting you to open your capacity to receive, to open your capacity to love and value yourself, and to truly bring that into a deeper level of knowing, outside of just the mind's concept of thinking that you're pretty good. And so when you find yourself at these spectrums, right, or you find yourself at kind of the precipice point, what I generally find with people, and in my own experience, was it just started to feel like life wasn't working, that all the action I was doing just wasn't generating what I desired. It was like I would try and just, it wasn't working. And my mind would tell me, it's not working, what's not working, life's against me, or what am I doing wrong? And really, this was a deeper invitation for me to learn another way to operate, to experience new tools, because I found that all the tools that I had, my willpower, my ability to pick myself up and to push myself along, my motivation, my strategy, my planning, all the things that had served me well stopped serving me in the same way that they did, because they needed a higher guidance. It needed a different way of operating. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here, is operating from that place of value and worth, and also opening to receive more, to trusting that everything that life is giving me is exactly what I need to get to where I want to go, to experience what I want to experience, that it's actually working for me. But this was something that I had to really dive into and experience. I had to learn, I had to open. And that truly is the first step. If you find yourself where you're feeling like you don't have the right tools, or you're starting to notice that life just doesn't seem to be yielding the fulfilling experiences that you want, there's a sense of unrest or unsettledness, or maybe you're at a cross point where you have moved careers, or you lost your job, or a relationship ended and you're wondering, what do I do next? Or how do I get to where it is that I desire? You're not lost, friends. And the first step is to pause and to realize there's no wrong turns. Life is not working for you. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. That truly you're at a place of learning. And my first step that I took was to open to this, to open to where I was, to open my heart to being compassionate and kind to myself. Because when we are learning new things, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, we feel clunky, we feel out of place. But that doesn't mean it's wrong, it means that it's something new has happened. I think someone said confusion is the beginning of wisdom, or a sign of learning, and that's truly the case. So pausing, being where you are, acknowledging it, and being kind to yourself. And the way that we do that in being kind and loving is being open now to learning. And so you've probably also heard that when the student's ready, the teacher arrives. And so when we open ourselves to saying, hey, life, I'm willing to learn another way, I'm willing to learn new tools, you'll be amazed at how these teachers will show up, how the information and the new tools will show up. And this can be in the form of a coach or a healer, a teacher, a book that you find, an audio that you find. Maybe you found this video, right? There's all these magical synchronicities that will come because your energy is calling it in. You are calling it in through your worthiness, through the ability of life to want to work through you and for you. And so open yourself to receiving this. Ask for support. Be willing to accept the support. And so when we do open, right, we start to allow ourselves to experience this receiving. But it does require a sense of openness and a willingness to relearn and remember. Because truly, this is honestly a remembering process. This is nothing that you have to go and grasp, like a course or a certification. Knowing how to receive and knowing your worth are things that are innately true about who you are. And the more we deepen into this, we start to find that there is more gratifying experiences available to us at all times. We start to realize how we truly can trust ourselves, how we can trust life, how we can open into how life is always working for us. Even in the times in which we say, I wouldn't have chosen this, this isn't the way I would go. But we start to lean back and trust a little deeper and find that inner resilience within ourselves to not just push through, but to truly open. It's really not about resistance in the form of like, I'm going to bear down and I'm going to just brace for impact. But it's more like, I'm going to open to this experience. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I trust that it's happening for me. So friends, I hope that this is allowing you the permission to be where you are. If you found this video, it's not by accident. It's because most likely you're in that zone of being asked to remember that you can receive what you want, that it's not outside of you, but that you might have to learn a new way to do it. And that new way isn't probably through a whole lot of more action or a different strategy or a methodology. It's truly remembering the base of who you are, which anything you desire is of you, and of you, you are desiring, you are worthy of what you desire. It's all the same. And so when we stop and pause and allow ourselves to be where we are with a certain amount of trust and openness, life will start to teach you exactly what you need to know for your next step. Look at the links in my video. I'm going to start linking some other videos that I'll be filming that will help you with some of these tools that I found really helpful during this process. Tools like cultivating deeper awareness of your intuition, learning how to use your emotional guidance system, taking care of your physical vessel, really taking care of your emotions, learning how to receive. So there's lots of opportunities to continue to learn these, but truly, friends, just hear this message that open yourself to what's happening and be willing to receive the guidance and the support that is totally available for you in this time.